Welcome back to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Glad you could attend. I know you've got a lot of choices out there, so just stick with me and you'll do great. We're going to look at DCeased Dead Planet number 2 today. Today is August 5th, 2020. Before we start in, though, I just want to mention what else we got coming up. I got number 1, Maestro. Like an old-timey Hulk, Future Imperfect Marvel Tales. And this is like I don't know, it looks like maybe like a 4 issues worth of comic in there. So we'll take a look at that later on this week. And that's a Marvel Comics number 1. Next we've got, and I never say this right, but Patriotica from Antarctic Press. This is a number 1, and this looks incredibly incredible. All right, just incredible. It's good. Just go with me on that. Okay, bought a lot this week. Here comes the next one. It's called the Gosh Darned, the Virginia Brides. And this is issue 2. I did not get issue 1, so I might see if I can get issue 1 before I read this one. But it looks pretty bloody good. I don't know how I missed the first one, but we'll check that out. And Robert Kirkman's new one, Firepower. This one looks like a pretty thick edition, so I don't know if there's a bonus story in there or not, but it's number 1 on this. It was a $3.99 comic, so we'll be getting into this pretty soon this week. Vampire, the Masquerade, and this is from Vault Comics. Tim Seeley is writing this one. It looked kind of interesting, so I thought I'd give it a shot, and we'll see how that turns out. Maybe I'll have steak that night. This one I'm going to have to wait on because apparently they got issue 2 before issue 1. This is Carson of Venus, the Eye of Amtor. It is an American Mythologies production, which I've really been liking, and this is part of the Edgar Rice Burroughs universe. So we'll have to wait a little bit on that. I've got actually 2 number 1s on order from them that we're still waiting for. So hopefully those will show up soon. And then I've got Superman, 100-page Superman Giant. Number 2, we did a review of number 1 that's on there. I really like the original stories. The other stories that were included in there were pretty good. I think there was 5 in the first issue. This one only has 4, but it does say it's got 1 new one and maybe another new one. We'll see. Let me look real quick. I just picked this up. No, it's only got 1 new one. So the one with the toy maker, I can't think what his name was. Toy Master? I can't think what the villain's name is. I'm drawing a blank. That one appears to be, or going to be, showing up in another issue. Okay, so we'll get into that one later this week too. So I got a lot of reading to do. I did read DCeased Dead Planet number 2 by Tim Taylor. And first of all, this cover, it features... Oh, I can't think of her name. I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long day. But she's green. She was Black Canary, and now she's a Green Lantern now. There's Wonder Woman and there's Superman using his laser powers on Wonder Woman. She's actually a zombie. This scene does not happen in the comic, so it's closer to what happened in the previous one, but it didn't even happen in the previous one, as Wonder Woman has gone after Superman. So basically, I've been looking at a lot of reviews of this. This is 2 of 7. It's a DC comic. And most of them have given very positive reviews. I've said a couple 9 out of 10s. I think Fortress of Solitude liked it. Old Man Comics liked it a lot. I'm trying to think of the other ones who I got. I've got that list here or not. I don't have that list handy. But I think I looked at about 4 reviews, and they all liked it a lot. I'm going to be the dissenting vote on this. Now, if you haven't read number 1, this is probably not going to make a lot of sense. And it's really not all that bad. I wish it could be better. Number 1 was like a pretty straightforward story. It made a lot of sense. It built a lot of drama, had a great cliffhanger, and they don't really address that cliffhanger in this that much. You're kind of still left hanging, and it's kind of underplayed. And in the meantime, you're jumping around a lot. So anyway, Sandman, Neil Gaiman coming out. Starts out with, and I think his name is Roy Harper, Arsenal. And he's watching guard. This is Chicago. This is 5 years later after Unkillables ended. And if you recall from the first one, there's a group that was up in a spaceship all safe, and they get a signal from Cyborg that he needs a distress call, that he needs help. And this is 5 years later, so they go back down. They find just his head. And then they get attacked. There's their shuttlecraft gets very damaged very badly, and they're scooting around. But this starts out in Chicago, and this is what I mean about the jumping around. You'll see. So unfortunately, Roy Harper is not around very much. He says a couple quippy things. There's a little girl with a Mickey Mouse head on, just standing there, causing him to get killed pretty much, instead of going inside when he's ordering everybody inside. Unfortunately, these guys arrive too late. Constantine, Zantana, I think her name is Zantana. Boy, I'm trying to think of all the names. Red Hood, Demon, and I can't think of that guy's Ragman, and then I can't think of these two here. But anyway, they show up and kind of start kicking butt and this is in Chicago. They just come through a portal or something, and unfortunately, fortunately, they were able to put it down. And I guess the person causing the havoc is a zombified Flash, or not Flash, Fire. Is it Fire? Well, I'm drawing a blank. It's green. Whatever it is. I'm sorry. I'm trying to blank on it. I wrote all this stuff down, too. So anyway, Swamp Thing shows up out of nowhere. And this is in Chicago. So this, I mean, it's kind of disjointed. You just don't know what's going to happen next. And usually that's a good thing, but this just seems like it's out of joint in this comic itself. So he shows up and just kind of with a wave of his hand, all these spiky vines come up and spear all the zombies, knocking out the threat for now. So he takes out like 50 of them very, very easily. And what he tells these guys who are in Chicago, they're trying to save this bunker full of people. He says, no, you need to go to Australia because there's a forest there that needs your help, just like there's a forest like the one that was built in Gotham by Poison Ivy to protect everybody. They've been living there for 5 years. Go to Australia. And so first they go back to the Gotham gardens. It's protected by Poison Ivy's magic plants, basically. Nothing can get through. But Zantana's probably going to create, or Constantine or Zantana, I'm not sure who does it, creates a portal, and they come here to get recruits to see who'll go to Australia. And in the meantime, the group that landed from the spaceship is streaking back. This is from the previous issue, is streaking back with their wounded, namely Green Arrow, and also Superman, or it's his son's, not Superman, but John Kent. I believe that's who it is. And Cassie, who's Diana's daughter, is carrying him. So they'll take the new Superman in, but they will not take the Green Arrow because he has been infected. So the new Green Lantern is keeping Green Arrow in the case, and she'll go off by herself. So they figure out that they need to get going here, and then Cyborg's head speaks up. It's cradled in Hawkwoman's arm there, that he's got the cure for this. And they're all saying, oh, we got the cure, but they don't actually have any cure yet. He thinks he's got it in his head, and somehow they've got to bring it out and dispense it to all the people that have the antivirus. It's a pretty complicated story if you haven't started at the beginning. So turns out the new Wonder Woman, Cassie, Wonder Woman's daughter, and Batman's son, Damian, they actually have something going on here. So I think this was kind of a surprise. Sorry if I'm giving that away. Then they go ahead and they go off to Australia. They get there, they see the gardens, quote unquote gardens, but it doesn't look too much like a garden. It's more of some kind of fortress. It's a ring of fire around it. They think it's a river of blood around it, and then all the zombies are actually going into the fire, trying to get inside this thing and burning up. And they figure that they can fly across, and suddenly the river of blood turns out it's not a river of blood. It's Mr. Fantastic, who's been zombified, and he takes out 3 of the party. Won't go into much detail. And Constantine and Mr. Chimp is with them, I believe. The world's greatest detective, and Swamp Thing, I guess that's who that is. Anyway, there's somebody inside, and it starts next, a greater evil. Now, this is a 7-part series. I'm not sure that I really want to continue, but I think I will. Unkillables was very good for me until the 3rd last issue, and then Tom Taylor pulled a Deus Ex Machina, and that upset me. I thought that was a lazy way to end that arc, but a lot of people liked it the way it ended. I thought that wasn't fair, but anyway, this one is kind of heading down the same path, and so I'm not sure, because it goes 7 issues, it's not just 3, so I'm not sure if I'm going to stick around for all 7, but I'm thinking I'll try at least one more, see if it kind of tightens up the story a little bit, because right now it's a little bit disjointed. You got a group that's in space, you got a group that's in Chicago, you got a group in Gotham, and you got a group now in Australia, and they don't seem to be meshing well. Seems like time's running out for them. So unless they can get Cyborg's information out of his head on how to make the antivirus, it looks like everything is doomed. They have not been able to heal anybody in this issue yet that has the virus, and they've got an injured John Kent and an injured Green Lantern Green Arrow that's also infected. So we'll see what happens. So please subscribe. Please like, please comment. I'd like to hear what you're going to say. Please let me know if you like the previews. I've been posting those both for Marvel and then all the independent. DC does not have a previews. They just have a sheet, and if I get a hold of the sheet, it just tells you what comics are available to order. I'll do a show on that as well, but I'm not getting a lot of looks on those, and they do take a lot of time, so I'm thinking about discontinuing that and just focus on pure comics, because those seem to do a little better. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Take care of each other. This is Indie Comics Joan from the Temple of Tomes. Good night.